welcome to or welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I'm 17 years old and I have a service dog in training named Finnegan, who is 8 months old. For today's video, as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be talking about the steps and the process of getting a service dog. If you enjoyed the video, you can give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. You can also comment video suggestions down below if you have any ideas. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. So the first step, which is probably like one of the most important ones, is research. And if you're watching this video, obviously you're doing some sort of research, so that's a good sign. This step is super important because you have to determine if a service dog would be something you could even consider. So it's really good to just do a ton of research on everything about service dogs. There's a ton of YouTube videos about service dogs and a ton of information on the internet just to like get a basic understanding of a service dog before the next step. The next step is to find out if you're eligible for a service dog. So in order to have a service dog, you have to be classified as disabled. So that means you have to have a disability, whether that's psychiatric or physical. How you're gonna find out if your illness or disease counts as a disability is by talking to your doctor. So a lot of times doctors don't think about a service dog as an option. So it can be really helpful to just bring it up to your doctor and start that conversation with them. So something really important to remember when you're doing this step is that diagnosis does not equal disability. What that means is two people might have the same disease or diagnosis, but that does not mean that both people with that diagnosis are disabled. For example, two people could have an anxiety disorder or a panic disorder, but it might not disable both people. So one person might be able to live their life more normally with that diagnosis, where the other person isn't able to have a normal life and is disabled by their diagnosis. So the next step, after talking to your doctor or psychiatrist and determining whether you're disabled or not, which it's important to leave that up to a medical professional, and just remember that a service dog is not always going to be right for you. Even if you are disabled, that doesn't mean that a service dog will always be the right fit for you. So after you've determined that you have a disability and you are eligible for a service dog, the next step is more research. This is so important. I cannot stress this enough. You have to do so much research and be really patient. The process takes a long time. So when you're doing more research, something you're going to have to determine is how you want to obtain your service dog. So what I mean by that is if you want to get a puppy from a program. So there are a lot of service dog programs for certain disabilities. So like diabetes service dogs, some do PTSD service dogs. So if you want to get a service dog from a program, that's something that is going to take a long time because that process can be really long. For example, for what I wanted a service dog for, the wait list was like up to 4 years. So you want to decide if that's something you want to do. Another thing to keep in mind is owner training, which is the other option, isn't always going to work for you because for someone with a disability, it can be really, really hard to owner train. So at this stage of your research, you should be doing a lot of looking into what it would be like to have a service dog and deciding if it's something that you think would fit your lifestyle, because a service dog is not going to fit everyone's lifestyle, and having a service dog comes with a couple challenges. I actually have a video on the pros and cons of service dog, which will be up by the time this video is up, so if you want to watch that, it talks a little bit about like the cons that people don't talk about as much. After deciding whether or not you want to owner train or get a puppy from a program, you would move forward with signing up for a program or keep doing research in order to owner train. The next step would be deciding on a breed. Deciding on which breed is right for you is super, super important in this process. So there's a thing called the Fab 4, which are the 4 most popular and successful dogs for service dogs, which is Golden Retrievers, Labrador Retrievers, Standard Poodles, and Smooth and Rough Collies. It's really, really recommended to get one of the Fab 4. But you have to decide which one will fit your like lifestyle and your disability the best. Do research on this, do research on all of the breeds, maybe make like a spreadsheet or a slideshow so that makes like the deciding process a little bit easier. Some things to consider are like how much exercise you're going to be willing to give the dog. Just different things like that. Another thing that people ask about a lot is, should I get a dog from a breeder or should I get a dog from the shelter? It's really recommended you get one of the Fab 4. Not saying that you cannot ever have a successful dog from the shelter. There are a lot of teams out there who have a shelter adopted dog who is successful, but there's a lot of benefits of getting one of the Fab 4 from a breeder because you can look back at their bloodlines and see if they've had successful service dogs in the past. So there's a really high washout rate for service dogs. That means a lot of the dogs that start the training don't make it through as successful service dogs. They call it washing out. I actually had a service dog before Finnegan who I had to wash out because of health reasons. To go along with that is be patient, because if you're getting a dog from a reputable breeder, You're gonna have to do a lot of research on the breeder, and chances are, if it's a good breeder, you're gonna have a pretty long wait list for the dog. You have to be patient. The next step, I would say, is to get a trainer. So people are usually like,
oh, like I've trained dogs before, like I've trained dogs my whole life.
Like, this is not the time for that, because you really are going to want a trainer who knows what they're doing with service dogs. So do a lot of research and find a trainer and get in contact with that trainer before you actually bring the puppy home. Another thing which I did is, like, a week after I got home with Finnegan, he was 8 weeks old, I had him already enrolled in a basic obedience puppy class. A week after he was home, we took him to puppy class and started going to our classes. Super important to socialize your puppy. Like, that's one of the most important things, is the socialization in the beginning. Find a trainer and maybe enroll in some classes so that you're set up for success. Another thing that's really important is to understand the washout possibilities. So like I said, the washout rate for service dogs is incredibly high, just because a lot of dogs don't cut it as a service dog. Their personality has to be right for it. They have to have the confidence, they have to have the stamina. So going into it, you have to understand that even if you do everything right, the dog might not end up being a successful service dog. It's really scary just not knowing, but just set yourself up for success and just, like, try your best. Like I said, have a trainer and do a ton of socialization. Obviously don't overwhelm them a lot, but take them places. I took Finnegan to Home Depot a lot. Maybe carry them, if they don't have all their vaccines, into like Ace Hardware or Home Depot or any pet friendly stores.
Socialization, socialization, socialization. A lot of socialization.
It's really, really super important. Don't overwhelm them, but really make sure that you're getting them to understand that, like, it's a normal thing that they do all the time and it's not a big deal. The next step is task training. So some people start task training earlier, some people start it later. So the tasks are what the service dog is going to do to help mitigate your disability. The process is a long time, and you have to understand that it's going to be a while before your dog is ready to actually work and help you. You really don't want to rush into anything. You want to take it slow and just make sure you're doing everything right. So those are all the steps that I'm going to go over. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you can give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Also, comment down below any video suggestions. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.